a deep feeling kid. I'm sure you've heard this one along with the term highly sensitive. Maybe you identify as this yourself. Here's the technical definition: a child with a heightened response to sensory stimuli and emotional input. It's often associated with the highly sensitive person, HSP framework in psychology. Listen, I can totally relate to this label. It's basically someone who emotes a lot, who feels things in a powerful way, who reacts with a lot of emotion, maybe who takes things very personally. But the problem I have with these labels is that it makes it into some kind of diagnosis, some kind of subcategory of human, some kind of special thing that demands something very different than what the rest of children demand. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's useful. It's not like in medicine where we need to properly diagnose the illness so that we can match the correct dosage of the correct medicine to that person's body. The truth is that most people are on a spectrum of how sensitive they are and how emotive they are. And if children are temperamentally more expressive, right, they're going to be perhaps more extroverted with their emotions, that they, feel things more deeply or more loudly, or sometimes in a more skewed manner than others. What I see on my own self and on my children who would fall into this label is that this is just often kids who need mindset coaching. They need to learn to thicken their skin, to take things less seriously or less personally. They need to learn to move on from their feelings, not to get stuck in them. They need to learn to ride the wave of emotion, and that emotions come and then they go, and they are not life shattering or altering. They need to learn to talk back to their insecurities or to their sensitivities and say, no, I can handle it, or no, it's not such a big deal, or I'm going to overcome this, or I will face my fears. I think what is really needed here is mindset coaching, bolstering up a child and not giving them this label, oh, you're a deep feeling kid, which sends them the message that they are too much, that they are too fragile, that they simply can't because they were born this way. They're a deep feeling kid. So what can they do about it? It's like, look, I'm probably a deep feeling person. I'm probably a highly sensitive person, but I've overcome that. I have taught myself and trained myself and thickened my skin and strengthened my backbone and broadened my shoulders so that I'm not so fragile and so at the mercy of circumstance and of situation and of other people's comments to me. I've learned to bolster up my confidence and overcome my insecurities and think about myself a bit less. That's the other problem I have with treating kids like they're highly sensitive or like they're deep feeling kids, is that it actually heightens their self consciousness. And being self conscious, thinking about yourself all the time, that inhibition is identical to being anxious. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, that when you are thinking about yourself, how am I being perceived? What are people thinking about me? What did they mean? Why did they say that? Why didn't they invite me? Why did they look at me that way? When you're kind of tuning yourself to pick up on microaggressions or on slights, on facial expressions or on tone of voice, and interpreting that as a deep feeling person, as something that means a big deal, then you're not strengthening yourself. You're not overcoming, you're not learning to address those skewed cognitive fallacies, to heal them and to look at the world in a more robust, resilient, capable way.